You're listening to Discussions with Justin.
Remember those trick questions I wasn't going to ask you? Well, now I'm getting you on them. They're like, wait, I wasn't ready.
Impromptu, right?
Yeah. So it's 8:00 over in Germany right now.
8:22. Yep.
8:22. So what's weather like over there right now?
Cold. It's been about 4 or 5 degrees Celsius the whole day and kind of dark.
Oh,
But
wow.
it's okay. I was in Spain with my mom last week, so like no one should feel sorry for me. Like
No, but what time does it usually get dark over there? Because I know here in Canada where I'm at, sometimes it's around 4 when the winter first starts. Is it kind of similar for you guys?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's usually around 4. I mean, it's starting to get a little bit longer, like maybe 5.
Yeah,
but
that's like us though. We made it through the roughest part of winter right now, so we're starting to see the
exactly.
light a little longer.
Up to the solstice now, it's all getting lighter slowly but surely. So
Yeah. So you went to Spain. Was that for business or just a trip or?
I went to meet up with my mom. I also had a workshop when I was there, but like I went for a few weeks and I was able to work from there and see my mom at the same time. So it was a nice way to kind of combine a few things.
Oh, nice.
Spain, nice food, sun.
Now, are you originally from Germany or Spain?
No, I'm from Minnesota. Also
Ah.
known as like Canada Light. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because I'm like, I'm thinking, I don't know if she's from Germany. I'm going to ask her.
Yeah. No, I've been here for a while, but and I was living in China before that, but originally I'm from Minnesota, but it's a little too cold for me. I am not that tough when it comes to cold temperatures, so
I'm not neither, and I'm stuck in Canada, so.
Yeah.
Right. So what made you want to move across the world? Like,
Well, I mean, I'm from a small town in Minnesota, and so like my grandmother was Mexican, and I'd always wanted to learn Spanish, and I don't know, I just kind of saved up some money, and I moved to Mexico when I was 20 to learn Spanish. Did some volunteer work in London, and then moved to Georgia for school, and I ended up in China. That's a kind of a roundabout
how was
little
that
journey.
like?
That
Living
was
in
amazing.
China. Must have been a huge culture shock, though.
Yes, that was definitely like one of the craziest things that I've done. Like I was in South America and I went through a breakup and I got back to Georgia where I was studying. Like I had just graduated, and I was like, well, I think I need to start over. And I had met this girl in Bolivia at like a hostel eating pancakes, and she was like, oh, I used to teach English in Korea. Like it was fantastic, well paid. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not a teacher. She's like, oh, you just need a bachelor's. And I was like, really? I'm like, I'm like, except for I'm interested in, learning Chinese, not really like, Korean. And so when I got back to Georgia, like 2 weeks later, I ended up finding myself in China, like teaching English for a while, but moved up to Beijing, and Beijing was fantastic because everything was happening there right before the Olympics. It was like 2007. And there was a lot of work, foreigners from all over the place because they wanted people who could speak some Chinese and, whatever their native language was.
Yeah.
And so it was fantastic.
So it sounds like you had quite the life, like, up and pack and move away, then live in China and now in Germany.
Yeah. My town was quite small.
Do you ever think you'll come back to your America at all, or?
I don't know. Like I always wanted to live in Europe. I don't know. I wouldn't have chosen Germany probably. Like, I mean, I studied Spanish and Italian. I mean, I could end up in Spain eventually. I don't know if I'd want to go back to the States though. I like Europe. I always loved it. Like I like the cultures. I like the different, foods and healthcare. And
that's a big thing, and that's everywhere right now. That's, if you can move one place, what would you move away for? Healthcare
and just safety in general. It's there's a lot of things. And plus it's like, I mean, I like being able to go to different countries quite quickly. I mean, I can go to Austria in 2 hours on a bus, which is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. The furthest I've ever been is South Africa for a competition, but
wow.
Yeah. Weightlifting competition.
Really?
Yeah, it was a few years ago now, but then I went to Dominican where it was nice and warm, and I mean it was warm down in Africa too. I mean, it was September when I went, so that was their winter, I guess. So they're all going around with jackets on, and I'm just I got a muscle shirt and a pair of shorts on, like, and I'm sweating.
Yeah. It's so funny because when you're in those places, you can see like who's the local versus like who comes from a colder place. Because you're like, this
yeah,
is fantastic. Like,
this is great. Why are they cold?
yeah, that's how I felt in Spain. I was like in a tank top and like sitting out on the beach, and they're like got like a what is it called, like a scarf or whatever. They're all
Yeah.
bundled up, and I'm like, what? Why are you guys like?
So how long have you lived in Germany for now?
About 12 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Are you teaching there too, or?
No, I'm actually not a teacher. My background is in journalism and telecommunication arts, and then I did my master's here in media communications management. And then like that's what I've mostly been doing, like things related to like brand management and content marketing, everything in Munich. And then during the pandemic, I mean, as many people did, unfortunately, like I got laid off along with a bunch of other people in my company. And so, I mean, at first, I'm not going to lie, like it really sucked because I was like, wow, this is like middle of the pandemic. We had one lockdown. We were going into a second one. And I'm like, this is not a good time to like lose my job.
Losing the second one, you lose your job, right? As if the first one wasn't hard enough.
It's just and so like I was kind of thinking, I was like, well, maybe actually this is an opportunity to do something different. Like I'm like really into personal growth. I've been doing EFT tapping on myself for like 12 years as a way to manage like stress and anxiety, like fears, imposter syndrome, literally like anything you could possibly think of. And so I was like, well, maybe actually this is like not as bad as I'm thinking. Like, maybe I don't need to like rush out to get something. Like I still had, some savings. And I was like, what if I try to get certified in coaching now? If I use the time during lockdown to my advantage instead of just, sitting around eating pizza and watching Netflix, which is what I think most people were doing. And I was like, no,
I think a lot of people were more watching the news, and it was like the Canadian thing up here. Another lockdown,
Yeah. Well, I mean, in Germany, it was just like, it's not going to open. Like, you might as well figure out some way to spend the winter because, like, I couldn't go to the gym. I couldn't, do all these things. And I was like, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get certified. And plus, it was kind of a nice social activity as well because of lockdown, I got to do a program from the UK, which was fantastic because, I got to meet a whole lot of new people, learn coaching, get certified and everything like that. And it was a good social outlet for me during that time as well that I wouldn't have had at all.
No, COVID played on everyone's mental health. People have taken nervous breakdowns from it and have never bounced back from. What's your thoughts on it? Do you think it was they made more of it than what it was, or?
I don't know. That's such a difficult thing. I mean, like, I think here, I mean, they're quite overly cautious about everything. But, I mean, here during the spring, I didn't really think it was that bad because we could go outside. Like here in Germany, like the lockdown was, you can't go and meet up with other people, but like, you could go out and it was spring at the time. So like, I could bike, I could hike, I could like, walk around and everything like that. But during the winter, that really sucked. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie, like
it was just like that for us up here too. Like you can go out around your yard now, but you can't. You can then it was you can social distance and stay in your car, and your friends got to stay in there. It's like,
yeah,
I worked in it. I think they just blew it up way out of proportion. Do I think they knew what it was? Not 100%, but do I think they have an idea? Yep, absolutely. Did I think they knew it was coming? 100%. They knew it was coming and they didn't prepare for it. And I think it affected mostly more people with health issues and everything. But like I said, it's back to the mental strain it put on people.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of where you come in with EFT and your coaching, right?
Yeah. I mean, because at the time, like a lot of my clients were also in lockdown in different places in Europe. And so there were a lot of people that lost their jobs. There were a lot of people who were living with their partners and they realized that's not the person for them anymore.
Yeah. And that happened a lot. Like I couldn't believe it when like the world opened back up again. It's like, wow, they're broke up. They've been together since high school, and it's
10, 15 years. Yeah, like
it took a cold virus to figure out, like, okay, I'm not happy in my relationship. I'm not happy who I am. And everyone has done a complete 360.
Yeah. I mean, and like on the other hand, I mean, it was really hard for parents. I mean, like to try to manage like working from home, trying to adjust to Zoom, and then also having to do like the homeschool aspect of it. And I
Plus
mean,
trying to
and
get your
kids,
work done on Zoom, right? Like we
yeah,
weren't prepared for it. The whole world wasn't prepared for it, I don't think. But
yeah,
we know better now, and we know when something happens to kind of brace ourselves and steps for it, right?
yeah,
So
yeah. I think it's just nobody thought it would go that long. I don't
yeah,
know.
I know it's crazy, and we're still hearing about it. It's like, okay, we get it, we know it's here for life, we got it. Like
Yeah.
next, And so, what is EFT? What does it stand for?
So EFT stands for the Emotional Freedom Technique, and basically you have acupuncture points all over your body. Like if you ever seen like a Chinese the diagrams from the Chinese clinics, like all over your body.
Yep.
And Gary Craig in the 90s, like he was really into Eastern medicine, and he figured out that if you tap on the acupuncture points on the face, you don't need to use the needles, that you can calm your nervous system. And so he was really into using it for like veterans that had PTSD who were not able to physically calm themselves down, and they were not able to necessarily talk about some of the traumas they experienced without like kind of, reactivating, re-triggering. And so he figured out that you can calm your nervous system by doing this. And then he started experimenting with like phobias. Like there was a guy who, almost drowned as a child. And so he could not go near the water, like without, starting to get like a panic attack. And he was able to allow this guy, like through, I don't know, 2 or 3 sessions to get rid of this phobia so he could swim again.
Oh,
And
wow.
so then he was kind of like, well, this is fascinating. Let's see what else we can use it on. And so from my standpoint, the important things I use it for in my coaching are the emotional health aspect in terms of, releasing stress, releasing anxiety, releasing fears and overwhelm, because it's really hard to show up the way that you want in life if you're stressed, frazzled, and, approaching a meltdown
No,
or
absolutely
or
right.
burning out, like
Yep.
you don't feel good about yourself. You're reactive. You have no resilience to bounce back out of things.
You just
And
keep
especially
going
these
down
days,
that hill, and that's it, and you can't get back up it.
you could
Yeah,
snowball. I
snowball.
mean, just,
Yeah,
I mean, I was like the person who like, you stub your toe getting out of bed, and then you like, you go and you like burn your coffee, and then you spill it, and then you get your hand, like your sweater caught on the doorknob. And so what I realized for myself through EFT is that you can, first of all, ground yourself so that you're not launching yourself into your day, and you're able to kind of recalibrate when something happens so that it doesn't just, snowball or spiral out of control. And that's the emotional health and resilience component, so that you can always have a way to recalibrate and calm yourself down, especially in a world where like things are unpredictable and you have no idea what could happen on a day-to-day basis,
any
right?
given basis. Yeah, anything could happen, right? And
Anything, especially these days, right? But I mean,
I know I know we have the big thing up here now is the tariff war, right?
yeah,
And that's taken an effect on people's mind, and like, how are we going to afford groceries? How are we going to do this?
yep. Yeah, I mean, like all of the what if, and like, I mean, all these things that we don't necessarily have control over. It's important just to be able to kind of bring it back to like, okay, I have control over my mindset and like what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, because especially with so much uncertainty, like we can't make the best decisions for ourselves or for our partners, for our families or whatever, if we're in a state of like panic and fear. That makes
Yeah.
us impulsive. We're not necessarily being rational. We're coming from an emotional place and not a responsive place. And then the second thing that like through using that, most people, when it comes to stepping outside their comfort zone or trying to set intentions or goals or whatever they want to do to make changes in their life, usually there's fears and resistance that comes up. Like sometimes, for example, somebody might want to make a podcast and they have like all the equipment set up and they're like, I'm going to do this. And they suddenly like realize that they can't press record. They can't, publish it or whatever. And they don't understand why. And so a lot of times it brings up like a lot of self-doubt, a lot of like even self-shaming. Like, what is this? Like, I wanted to do this. Why can't I do it? But then when you look a little bit closer, a lot of times that comes from like fears and resistance that might look like, okay, I'm suddenly worried, like, why do I care what the people from high school think about me? Maybe they're going to think it's dumb, or like, maybe nobody will listen to it. Maybe I won't be taken seriously. All of these, like, kind of negative self-talk that we can get. And this is where
And you know what? I used to be like that for years.
Mhm.
Always, self-doubt myself. Always thought, well, what is this person going to think of me now? But I don't know, I don't know if it's just 'cause I'm getting older now, but now I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm willing to go out and fail. I'm willing to do that, and I'll learn from that.
Yep.
It's not a big deal. You're not the only person that's gonna fail at something. At least you can say you tried.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know?
it's like I say, like don't be afraid to suck at something the first time, because it's like
Absolutely.
your first, podcast, your first, I don't know, time you do anything, you're not going to be good at it. You have to be willing to be like, this is part of my learning process.
Yeah, from my first show to now, it's like I've noticed my interview. I don't really like to say an interview because I don't really have questions. It's just a general discussion, but I'm talking more now. I'm not just sitting and listening like, okay, yes. You know what I mean? I'm engaging more with it and I'm learning, so I'm diving more into like philosophy now and psychology and ADHD, all that stuff, because it's just when you hear someone speak about it, it's like it's very interesting, right?
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, even like, the first podcast that I did, even now, like when you listen to it, you're like, okay, I've obviously improved, but you have to start someplace,
You have to start somewhere. Yeah. No, but like, so tell us more about this EFT.
So I think that one of the most powerful ways that I use it with clients, because like, for example, you can use it for stress release by yourself, like with YouTube videos, there's like apps and stuff like that. But in terms of really working with a practitioner, this is a really good way to kind of be able to release self-doubt. A lot of people carry around a lot of emotional baggage in terms of shame, guilt, not forgiving themselves or other people. Um, Feeling like they missed out on things, like, or even like, this is the best example that I always give. A lot of times, like, somebody has some like, childhood experience. Like, let's say you try to get up in front of the class when you're like 8 years old, you got like your picture, want to show everybody. Let's say the teacher like says something critical and just makes fun of it. The whole class laughs at you. You
Yep.
feel ashamed. You just learned it's not safe to be seen, not safe to be heard. If I try to put myself in the spotlight, I'm going to get hit. I'm going to get shamed. And so maybe 20, 30 years, passes by and you're like supposed to give a client presentation in your work or something, and you're suddenly gripped with all this fear, like, you don't want to give the presentation. And you might not even understand exactly why, but most times, most people can kind of connect that. You can go back to those experiences and you can tap on them so that you can release that and replace those, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't know what I'm doing, with better beliefs that are more helpful and empowering. Like, I'm open to learning. It's okay if I'm not perfect, like, I'm always improving and getting better.
Mhm.
And people find, it depends on what the issue is. Sometimes it can be one session, sometimes it can be like 2 or 3, depending on what it is. Because especially with the belief wounds, like, it's kind of like an onion. Like, we might have that thing that happened to us as a kid, but then like what happens is we have all these layers that like
Yeah.
validate it, as like more things happen in your life. And so you need to kind of like address those things individually.
And I find there's a lot of people like that are walking around now with past,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say baggage, but like, past trauma and other
Mhm.
things, like, the school, for example, like getting up and the teacher making fun of the presentation or, the
Yep.
picture or something. Now that child now has to look at it. The one person that I could trust at school now just made fun of me.
Yep.
You know what I And now I got the whole class laughing at me. And that's going to follow me for the rest of the day, the month, the week, the year, whatever.
Hmm.
And some people, it follows them right to high school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And even like other things, like, for example, I've had several clients who went through burnout, and there's a real process of like having to trust yourself again, that like people completely have lost all the trust in themselves and also like in a professional environment. And so a lot of times what happens is, excuse me, they'll go find some job that like is super like easy for them, something that is no effort, it's not rewarding or anything like that, but it's like safe because they know that they can handle it and have boundaries around it and stuff like that. But usually that in itself is a process, because otherwise they won't have the courage within themselves to apply for the job that they really want, because they're afraid that like, what if this happens again? What if I can't trust
Mhm.
myself to make the best decision or whatever?
So what are some coaching skills if someone came to you with anxiety? Like, give us some ideas. What kind of you can make the scenario up. What
Yeah.
kind of ideas how you would deal with anxiety and how to cope with it?
So, I mean, it depends. First of all, where is it coming from? Because, like, like I'll give you one example. Like, I had one client who she had never really like had a gym membership or anything like that, and she felt that she had gained a lot of weight. She really wanted to go to the gym, but every time that she thought about going to the gym, she was afraid, like in her head, she was like, they're going to fat shame me. Everybody's going to look at me. It's going to be traumatic. I'm going to be so ashamed that I'm never going to be able to show my face and everything like that. Because in high school, she got, quote unquote, fat shamed. And so she had like lost weight over the years. But once she gained that back, it was like it brought up all of those memories. And so she no longer had the confidence anymore that she had before. So what we did was we focused on, okay, so first of all, where is this anxiety coming? Like, is this a fear? Is this a resistance? Is this a shame? Is this like a what if situation because you're looking at what happened in the past and you're projecting it onto the future and being like, I know this is what they're going to do. Because once you're able to articulate it and identify what the fear is, then you can tap on it. And you can literally say things like, like, I'm afraid that they're going to fat shame me. Like, I'm afraid that they're going to make fun of me. That would be awful. I would feel horrible. Like, I would feel so stupid or whatever, because we always have this kind of negative self-talk that comes along with that. And it's still like the kind of things that we would never say to somebody else, like, oh, they're going to, tell you you're, not good enough and you're fat or whatever. Like, we would never say these kind of things. But to ourselves, that's what we're saying. And that's why we're creating all this anxiety. And so you would deal with releasing that, being honest about it, because also we have to get real with ourselves about what we're thinking and feeling so that we can let it go. And then you can be like, okay, for example, like shifting from the negative into the neutral into something more empowering. So going from, okay, I can never do this. Like, I'm afraid, like, you can't make me, I don't want to go or whatever, to being like, okay, you know what? Like, this is something that I'm deciding to do. I'm deciding to do this. Like, I'm in charge of whether I go to the health club or not. Like, screw those people. Like, why do they get to decide if I feel good enough? Like, they don't have that power over me. I get to decide this. And so in doing that, you've kind of taken back control of yourself and like, okay, who cares? If they want to say something about you, like, that obviously, first of all, means that they have some issues with themselves. That people who feel good about themselves don't go around trying to make other people feel like crap.
No. No,
so why
and you're absolutely right. And you see a lot of that, and you can always pick it out. Yeah, there's definitely something going on, whether it's their personal life or work life. You can always tell that they're just trying to make them feel better because their life is crap right now.
Exactly. If their life was great, they wouldn't do that.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't feel the need to do that, to put other people down. It's just, it is, But once you kind of also realize that, and through the tapping, it's like, okay, well, they don't have any power over me. Why should they get to decide whether I get to go to the gym? I'm going to the gym because I want to do it, and screw them. Like, And and then she went to the gym the next day.
Yeah,
she'll be going there since. Yeah,
awesome. And that's another thing too. It's like social media can be hateful for that stuff too, like fat shaming people or just being down on people because they're doing something wrong. I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it. So, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I mean, I think also with social media, there's a certain element, like, I don't know, we have to know what the balance is to protect ourselves a little bit to it. You know what I mean? Like, especially because the internet is not always a very kind place. So we always have to.
I find it more goes on the internet now than it does out in the public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like, you say about the fat shaming at the gym. I don't find it's going on as much now, but when you go on the internet, it's there.
I mean, I go to a gym, there's all different kinds of people there, all different shapes and sizes, and and no one does anything. And like, I think the expression was like, somebody who is like further along with you will never look back and like try to shame you. It's always somebody who is feeling insecure about themselves that will try to do it. Somebody who's really buff and like super into in shape will be like, all right, good job, keep going.
Yeah, and that's the way I've always been. I always wanted to see people succeed with the gym, and Do great, because I always say you only get one body, so look after it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So now, what kind of clients, like what kind of target does this, I'm going to say it around the EFT?
EFT. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Well, so what kind of people would this benefit? What kind of people would benefit from this?
So there's so many things that you can use it for, but I would say that typically my clients are either professionals, like, and they have some kind of a job, but they want to kind of do more. Like they want to start a side business, or they want to launch their book or their podcast or something like that. And usually it's in that moment that they step outside of their comfort zone that they suddenly realize how many fears they have of, not being good enough or being taken seriously. So it's helpful because I know this from myself and my own process. Like as you get outside of your comfort zone, it can be terrifying.
Yep.
So you have to be able to it's like going to the gym. You don't go and do one pull up and you're like, all right, where's my muscles? Like you have to kind of keep doing it step by step.
I beg to differ now.
You're like, speak for yourself. Oh, and I do one pull up and I'm like,
no, I do one pull up. I'm going home for the day.
Exactly. Like, all right,
see you Friday.
But like for most people, confidence, it's like a muscle. You have to kind of create bits of evidence for yourself and proof that shows yourself that you're pushing yourself out of the comfort zone, releasing the fear with EFT tapping, going forward, and you keep going. And so usually within they usually have some specific goal, like they want to launch their book or whatever. And then the other side is like people who are trying to kind of recreate or rebuild their life. A lot of times people go through a divorce or a breakup or something, or they lose a job and they maybe felt confident and secure before, but something has completely derailed them. That they're trying to rebuild and they're really starting to reflect like, okay, what do I want for myself now? Do I really want that, a job exactly like that? Because maybe that's not even me anymore. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they realize that they want to focus on some other area of their life. Or, I've dealt with teachers or healthcare workers. So, there's no one specific kind of person, but, emotional health and resilience and more confidence and releasing belief wounds is helpful for everybody.
No, I get it. So what kind of effect does it have on the nervous system? You know what I mean? Like this tapping, yeah.
It calms the body's like a fight, flight, or freeze response. So like literally you can watch somebody go from, I've had people like totally, crying hysterically that something happened or whatever. And then in about 15 minutes, like as they're tapping, you can see the release happen. And so somebody that comes in stress, it depends obviously what it is, but you can calm yourself down within, 10 to 20 minutes.
Oh, wow. So when can you do this? Like, how do you know, like for the listeners that are just learning about it, how do you know to feel like they have to do this? Like, can you do it in the comfort of your home, or is it something you have to go see a doctor?
Good question. So there's like two things. So one is if you're just trying to regulate your nervous system, like let's say, I don't know, you've got like an interview happening, or let's say you have to go have like a really uncomfortable conversation. This is a really good thing. Literally YouTube has thousands of videos. I love Brad Yates. That's my favorite one. And he has different ones for confidence. And so basically you can just do it on yourself. There's like, the points that are on the body, but let's say you're on the bus or like, I don't know, you're sitting in traffic or something and you don't want to like sit there with two hands because it looks funny. You can also do it like on your knuckles and your fingers. And that's a way that you can just do it yourself. You can take a walk, you can do it or listen to they have like different apps like the tapping solution. But if you want more of the deeper transformation, most of those fears or self-esteem issues are things that are better worked with a practitioner. That's something that because we have a lot of blind spots when it comes to us. And so you need somebody to kind of dig around a bit and kind of identify when this might have started, what might be some of the triggers, and what you need to kind of look at so that you can release it. Because also with the deeper issues, that might not be something that in one session you can release all of. You need to do the layers.
It depends, like you said, it depends on the person, right? How much trauma and how deep you got to dive into it. And
exactly, because everybody's totally different. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just one thing that somebody happened and could be 10 So you don't know.
So you mentioned the face, like you tap here, and what about the hands? What part of the hand? And like, should there be a lot of pressure, or is it just literally just
really like light tapping? Like, so you got like, this is the karate chop point. It's like literally where you would chop wood with your
okay?
with your hand. So it's like that one, and then this one is in between the eyebrows, and then the side of the eye for anybody watching, underneath the eye, underneath the nose. And for anybody who, like, I don't know, wants to do it, but maybe like it's too overwhelming to go through all the points, if you're really stressed out, the one that I like to do is just to take both hands and you're just kind of on your collarbone, and you breathe in through your nose, 1, 2, 3, and you breathe out through the mouth, 1, 2, 3. And it will do that like 10 times, and it will calm your nervous system very, very quickly.
So that's why these are the key spots.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
Yep.
It's pretty fascinating. It's pretty neat. I'm actually going to have to start
Send you some
trying
videos.
this.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
And speaking of that too, as we get into this, is there links that people can reach out to you about this?
Absolutely. So I have 2 free ebooks, which I'll give you the links for. So one is just like, what is EFT tapping? Maybe it's for some people, this is something completely new and they just don't understand how or why it would work. So I have that free ebook, and then I have one specifically for stress and anxiety. And so that's 2 great ways that they could just learn more about it. The stress and anxiety one has some little exercises, and it also has some links to some videos where I have some tap along ones so that anybody can do that for their own stress relief to try it at home. And then I also can offer a coupon to your listeners for my biggest package for 99 euros off.
Okay. Perfect.
Hashtag Justin is the code.
there you go. I got my first code. No, like I have questions here, but I just sooner go by tell us more, educate us more on it.
We'll see. What else would you like to? I guess okay, I'll tell you some things that I've used it for that people might think would be helpful. Mm-hmm. So like 70% of people struggle with imposter syndrome. This is like, and those who don't, like, apparently they're, probably people that should be more self-reflective, some politicians or whatever. But anyway, there are so many times where we might doubt ourselves, and we end up doing things to self-sabotage ourselves because we don't feel that we might be good enough to do it. We might end up procrastinating. I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to, that they might start self-sabotaging, like, okay, either I'm going to do productive procrastination of making myself super busy with everything else, but not what I need to do, or, picking a fight with somebody, or blaming everybody else and not really taking accountability for things. EFT is very helpful for allowing yourself to just be articulating to articulate the honest, so that you can, release the feelings that come up. Also good for motivation. Like, the days where you're just like, why bother? Like,
yeah.
Everything is messed up, and it's winter, and it's dark, and it's cold, and I don't want to do anything. Okay.
Yeah, no, I just want to hibernate.
Exactly. I'm not getting out of bed, like, whatever. You can do that. Or some people find that tapping before meditating is a good way to kind of quiet the mind and ground themselves.
Yeah, that sounds like the 2 of them would kind of link together, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm.
You're already doing this tapping. You're already getting yourself relaxed in a relaxing state, and then you can go right into meditation.
Oh, and I know what I was going to tell you. So if they stay or like keep watch my social media, I do these limiting belief buster workshops, like probably every few months. And it's a really good way to learn about, first of all, like, what are your limiting beliefs? Like, where did you get them? Like, is it something that you heard from your parents, or did you learn it in society, or did you see something happen to somebody else? And then once you've identified your limiting beliefs, then you can work on tapping on them so that you can move forward anyway with more empowering beliefs instead of keeping those wet.
Yeah. So, like, what kind of emotional release do you get from this? Like, when you're doing the tapping, like, how does it, like you said, it take, 10, 20 minutes that it feels, but like, how do you feel? Like, because I'm sure you've done it before. So how was it for you?
So usually what we do first of all is, like, we start by evaluating like what is the emotion that you're feeling, and from 0 to 10. And it's a really good way for you to be able to gauge, like 0 is you feel absolutely nothing. 10 is like you're super stressed, frustrated, angry, whatever. So then you can see like after 2 rounds or whatever, how do I feel now? Oh, okay, I'm at a 7. All right, good. Do another round, be like, oh, now I'm at a 5. So you feel like, I don't know, it's different for everybody. Some people yawn, some people like, kick up or whatever. Sometimes you feel a space opening up in your chest. But it's like a release. You feel lighter, you feel more peaceful. Like I said, I think the most rewarding part for me is that somebody can be totally like hysterical and crying and like, upset and all of these things. And 1 hour later, they can be like, thanks.
Yeah,
Feel
what was that
great.
all about, right?
Like,
No,
thank you. I
and
need
I
that.
think it's a better way because I mean, in today's society, every person has anxiety, which a lot of them don't. It's just a word that gets thrown around so much that, and then comes anxiety medications, and then
Mhm.
comes psychiatrists, and you don't. But it's not anxiety, you know what I mean. Like, so I think
Yeah.
this too is I mean, yes, there's people out there that need to take their medication. I'm not saying not to, but I'm just saying, for someone don't know if they actually have it or not, try it. Maybe it could
Yeah,
help out, right?
absolutely. Because I mean, also the thing is too is even people that have anxiety, like I'm by the way, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not giving medical advice, but
Yeah.
that I'm like in different groups and stuff like that. That like they have one of the Brad Yates videos called "Fear and Panic" right now. Like you can just go look at that video and look at the comments underneath of it, because people are like, I thought I was gonna, have to, get somebody to rush me to the hospital or whatever, and they were able to calm themselves down. So like it is a powerful tool just to have in your back pocket, because while medications can be certainly very helpful, I mean, for different people, it's also important to know how to regulate your body and your nervous system and your emotions so that you can try to feel more in control, because a lot of times the stress and anxiety is that we feel out of control and powerless, and it feels like it's getting worse, right?
Worse, yeah. Feels like someone has your hands around your neck or something, and
Exactly.
you can't breathe, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. No. So like the coaching process of it, how like do you coach your clients? Like, do you have an office? Do you do it online?
Both. So because I started during lockdown, I was exclusively doing it on Zoom for like several years. And also I think one cool thing about that is because people were all over the world, like
Yeah.
which is kind of nice. But now I have a place in Munich where I can hold workshops, and I also give hourly sessions, which is really nice. And like, for example, when I travel, like I did a workshop in Spain 2 weeks ago, and then I did like a workshop in Albania last year. So I try to, when I go places, also do in-person stuff, because I like being able to do things in person again, like
Yeah. No,
after
I know it's good, isn't it? It's good.
so good. Like I don't know, love it.
So what about a person that like has pain? Would this somewhat be beneficial for them or
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't particularly like work with people with pain, but yes, they have like lots of videos on YouTube, especially a lot of times people with chronic conditions, like it can be used to manage the pain, because a lot of times there are people who have been in pain for years, and there's like just not really anything that they've been able to do, and it is very helpful.
Mhm. Now, do you have your own YouTube channel?
Yes.
Yes. What's the link to that? And I'll
It's
get you to send it to me too when we're done in the
yes.
conversation.
It's
Yeah.
everything that I have basically is Andrea Hunt, Living Deliberately Today, EFT Empowerment Coaching, or
Yes.
some variation of that. But I will give you, all my links to the socials, and so people can follow me there. I put new videos where I'm discussing certain things, or different tap alongs for different subjects. Take requests. So if you have anything that like you need me to do it on, I can certainly take requests.
So how does this affect you balancing everything, So you do your clinic now, you do your online stuff, you have a YouTube channel. Has it affected your day to day? Like, do you find yourself using this technique more now than before?
I use it every day.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I mean, I always use it in the morning. Um, because I found I have to have a morning routine in terms of grounding myself, not throwing myself into the day. As I said, like being able to start grounded with my yoga, meditation, and tapping. I find that it makes me less reactive just in general, and things tend to go smoother throughout my day. And then I also use it like before bed to go to sleep. But then also, I mean, I've used it with practitioners, because obviously during my certification, you have to work with other people who are getting certified, which is really amazing, because that's where I finally really understood the power that EFT had. Because even with some like old memories that I had, you know, from childhood that I was not able to, let's say, just let go of. And now they're like things that I can think about, but they don't have the emotional charge. They don't upset me anymore. They don't make me sad or angry or anything like that. And that's when I was really like, wow, like that's, you know, like a lot of inner child healing, stuff like that.
Sounds
That's
pretty
changes
powerful.
life.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'm definitely going to have to get you to send me some videos over, because I definitely want to jump into that. I want to try it for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you like it. It's very helpful.
Well, it's been great talking to you.
This has been wonderful, Justin. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I know it's late there. You probably want to get ready for sleep time, and
I still got work to do tonight. So
let's keep in touch.
all right. Thank you so much.